given how challenging this stretch has been, there are a bunch of times where you all could have kind of let go of the rope. What do you think kept you in it and kept you energized enough to push it over the top there?
Just the DNA of this team, this group. We understand how to win basketball games. And tonight was a perfect display of that. It wasn't going our way. What felt like the whole night. They were making shots, we were missing shots. We fouled jump shooters a million times tonight. We had a lot of mental lapses, but we fought through it really well as a group and as individuals, and just kept the game close enough. And then when it was winning time, we did what it took to win. You saw guys crash the offensive glass, make big shots, big rebounds. This team knows how to win when it's time, and we showed it tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned the kind of knowing how to win. Last night, Hart was saying that what you all do in practice, even going back to training camp, with just the situations that Mark puts you in, and kind of most importantly, how efficient the practicing is, and that you're kind of getting what you really need. What's your perspective on just the preparation that you all have that goes into your late game execution?
Yeah, Mark does a really good job of focusing on there's a bunch of things that help you win, and he does a really good job of focusing on a few of them at a time and keeping it really simple for us. And then over time it builds, and we have multiple skills to go out there and win games. But late game execution is one of them. We go over it a lot. And a lot of the times it's mental, so it doesn't have to be a heavy load day, but we're learning and getting better at it. But yeah, he prioritizes that, and is a big reason why we win games.
Follow up on that, Mark last year was talking about not overcoaching you guys. He's talked about it a little bit this year, and from the outside looking in, from last year, it seemed like that's easy when you guys are blowing everybody out every night. But 4 of your 5 first games have been close, and it seems like that aspect has played out in late game situations, and he's letting you guys figure it out. Can you just talk about having that as a coach, letting you guys figure it out on the court, and him not micromanaging?
Yeah, he gives us our space for sure. He lets us go out there, make mistakes, learn from them, and keep it pushing. He's done that since he took over as head coach, and I think that has kind of allowed us to attack the opportunity and really get better from it. So yeah, he does a really good job of empowering us and giving us confidence to go out there and play through mistakes and try to get better.
AJ was talking about how he was itching to get back on the court this year consistently after his injury last year, but mentioned how it was needed for him, and mentioned you as one of the guys that has been coaching him up on the floor. Just what have you seen from him day to day that has made him so consistent, and did you see that he was itching to get back out here consistently?
Yeah, AJ's he's such a competitor that you can see by his intensity in practice. You can see just how he walks around the building. He competes and he wants to go out there and play. And we've seen that from the start of the season. He stepped into a big role. He's been the second ball handler for us, and he's been huge in some really big games against really good teams. And it's no surprise that he's showed up in those moments just because how he approaches the game and how he works. So yeah, no surprise there.
You guys haven't played many games from behind like that where the team continues to go on runs. You guys are trading runs. What did that feel like for you guys?
Yeah, it felt good. Adversity is how you learn, and that's how we view it. The harder the games, the more prepared we'll be, and the nastier, the uglier the situations, and still finding ways to win, the better. It's easy to win when everything's going in. It's harder to win when you can't make a shot and they're making things and things aren't going your way. So it's how you really build skills.
You guys have played a lot more in the half court through these first 5 games than you did last season. Does it feel like that to you?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I just think teams throw so many different like looks and coverages. We've seen zone a fair amount, like, and zone just slows the game down naturally. So it's just like, yeah, we've seen it, but I don't think it's anything out the ordinary. I think you just go through like lulls in the season where you play a few teams that have different strategies that slow things down, and you play teams that are fast that speed things up. We've just seen it a little bit slower lately.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on AJ. So it's one thing for a guy like him to maybe have one big game or two big games, but he's got several now, and it's been, like he said, consistent. Can you talk a little bit about the mental process of what it takes to handle being a bigger part of things when the other team now knows a little bit more about you, expects a little bit more from you, and yet to be able to handle that aspect of things?
Yeah. So every night, like you said, like he's rising up the scouting report. But I think what helps him is like him just having tools. So like they're gonna have a game plan for him, and then he's gonna have to figure out how to still be himself through the game plan. And usually the more tools you have, the better off you are. And I think he has so many tools that like it doesn't really matter what you do out there. And he's just showing the world that game by game. You can plug him in anywhere, in any lineup. And that's why he's had success this far, for sure.
We'll go last one to Myra, and then we're going to go to AJ.
You mentioned knowing how to close and everything else. Is that just from the playoff run? Because regular season, you guys set all those records for point differential. Is that just from the playoffs last year in terms of knowing how to close out these close games?
That helped for sure, most definitely. But it's been like for me, being the main guy for quite some time now, it's been a process since I kind of got the keys, I guess you can say. Even when we weren't the greatest of team, like those opportunities when we were in a close game and trying to figure out how to close it and where I like to close it and what spots I like to get to, what plays I like to run, who I like out there with me. It's all been a process, and over time, myself, coach, and the guys on the team just try to get better at it, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that. And that's why we've had some success closing games. When
you got that last shot you, that was a three. Does that just work out that way? Do you know what you want to get, or is it just what they're giving you?
I know who. We typically know who we want to go at, and then we have like a select few plays that allow us to like manipulate the matchup, and then from there it's just read and react. And wherever I am on the floor, I usually have a shot that I've shot many times before and I'm comfortable shooting. And I go to it, whether it goes in or not. I find out that night, but it's something I'm comfortable shooting for sure.
Thank you, Shai.
AJ, you guys have had 4 clutch time games here already this season. When you're out there in those situations, obviously, not getting to play your whole rookie season, do those final 5 minutes, do the execution feel any different than maybe earlier in the game? Is there anything that you're focused on in that point of the game to make sure that you're helping put the team in terms of winning plays?
Just really focus on making the right play every time I'm on the floor. Obviously, end of the game, just like gotta know what's happening and be smart. So I think that's really it. But I'm learning so much even this year. Obviously, I was out for a little bit last year, but every time I'm there on the court, I'm learning so much. So it's been really fun.
You guys took like a 1-possession lead. They would take it back. You guys would kind of push that boulder up the hill multiple times. Did you feel like there was any aspect of the game or a tipping point that helped you all kind of persevere and get over the hump tonight?
I think just being tough. Obviously, we knew going into the game it was a back-to-back for us. But I think just being tough for 48 minutes and just staying in the game, and that's what we did.
There's a time on the floor there, I think, in the second quarter that you were the primary playmaker and shot maker on the floor. Can you just speak to Mark having the confidence and going to you so early in the season and kind of giving those opportunities to you?
Yeah. It's been really fun having that confidence from coach, but also from my teammates, and it makes it really easy for me to just go out there and focus on just playing basketball, going out there, have fun, make the right play, and just do what it takes to win. So it's been awesome.
You clearly had a good summer. What are the things that you worked on over the summer, maybe like body-wise or game-wise, that you're noticing like a difference for yourself on the floor?
I mean, definitely just getting stronger. I think that was one of the main things for me going into my sophomore year. So that was definitely the main emphasis. And then just kind of working on every little thing in my game. I think I want to be a complete player, so that's really what I worked on this whole off season. And then just getting rest too. It was very important to just come in, be healthy, and be ready to go. So those were the main things.
You know, it's one thing to work on all the physical tools to get stronger, to shoot better, all of that, but it's another to put it all together in a completely different role consistently in multiple games against good competition. What got you to this place from a mental standpoint where you could make that jump and be ready when your name is called?
I think never being too high or too low. I think just staying consistent with everything I do. Obviously, I work hard. And I know every time I go out on the court, like, I just got to play my game and not worry about anything else. And I think my faith, just being really locked in with that, I think really helped me throughout last year, but even this year. And it's been really important for me to just kind of stay humble throughout everything and going out there and having fun.
You've obviously had a really fast start to this year, but I can't imagine that you're just content with the success you've had. What's next for you? Like, where do you feel like you can still improve?
I mean, to be honest, I think every area of the game, I think I'm still learning a lot. I think I still got to work on a lot of things. But I think my main focus is just to help this team win. So everything I need to do to win any given day, that's what I'll focus on. But I think there's not really one little thing I got to work on. I think I just got to work on a lot of things and keep growing.
In the post-game tonight, Mark said he thought your performance tonight was healthy because you had to bounce back from some turnovers and missed shots, which you haven't really had to do earlier in the season. Did you feel that out there too?
I mean, yeah. I mean, definitely had a couple turnovers, couple bad plays, but I think just kind of staying in the game. I think my teammates really helped me too to just stay in the game, stay in the moment, and then kind of forget about those bad plays. And I mean, it's a 48-minute game, so there's going to be good and bad moments, and through it all, you just got to stay consistent, and that's really what I was trying to do.
Lou, I think you held them under 40 points in the second half. Defensively, just where did you feel like things ratcheted up a level or were tighter in the second half?
Yeah, I just feel like we had to compete better. They were getting a lot of easy stuff. Just our level of competition had to be a little higher. I feel like we came back from halftime and hitting harder.
With as many games you guys had with a win margin last year, they played a lot of clutch games so far this season. In a way, do you appreciate just getting tested early just to kind of get it going this season?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we always want to play in a high, competition game. I feel like, whenever the game get closer in the fourth, it's always better, and I feel like it's always a learning experience for us. It's to learn how we can execute in those type of moments. Yeah, tonight was a great one.
DeMontis had obviously been racking up the rebounds throughout the night, but that play where Caruso had that three-pointer, you and Hartenstein were fighting to get that ball out of his hands. Just how much does a play like that kind of describe the heart that this team has?
A lot. Like we always say, it's a 48-minute game. Those, especially down the stretch in the fourth, those possession matters. And Hart had done a great job, battling with Sabonis down there. I just felt like I had a chance to sneak one and get it without him seeing me. But yeah, he's a tough one. And whenever we can make an energy play like that, we'll always do it.
Lou, you've seen Shai and J-Dub become like really good on-ball creators in this league and have defended them in practice and kind of seen them grow. Is there any through line that you see with AJ as an on-ball creator?
For sure, yeah. I mean, he's really comfortable. That's that's a big thing when you get to this level and you early in your career, you that comfortable with the ball, attacking the rim, making the good reads. I felt like AJ is one of them. Every time he has the ball, we always expect him to make a big play. And he's having a really good start of the season. Honestly, I've been seeing that, since training camp and even before that. But he's real comfortable, real confident, and we need him to play like that.
Lou, when people talk about your career and your development, they mostly focus on the offensive end because you became a ready-made guy on defense. Where do you think you've taken the biggest strides as a defender since you came into the league?
I would say just watching more film. I feel like I know what I'm doing on the court. I know what I'm capable of. But, just watching more film and learning players' tendencies and stuff like that, I feel like this is something that I always can get better at. I feel like, a lot of players go in the offseason and add some new stuff to their game. So just, being able to watch different games when I got time and seeing what some of the guys that I would guard whenever I play them, has worked on and some of the stuff that they added to their game. So I would say watching more film is a big one.
Mark, last night, Hart was just talking about the preparation that you all do as a team for some of these late game clutch situations, your fourth clutch game of the season already in this one. He just talked about how kind of efficient that process is. What goes into the way that you all practice and simulate these clutch time situations to be able to go out and execute the way you did tonight?
I think the biggest thing is just exposing the guys to the different situations and encouraging some critical thinking in different ways, whether that's in practice or in film, because ultimately you can't, micromanage. There's not enough timeouts to just make every decision. So it's about preparing the team to think on the fly and recognize the patterns and recognize situations. And this team's been in that process now for a long time, and we've been in a lot of those games, and we've handled those things well. There's habits at this point in the season that we have to. We're certainly not a finished product through 5 games, but we have had good execution in those situations for the most part, and again tonight.
And it seemed like you guys were kind of pushing the proverbial rock up the hill, having it roll back over and over again. What factor or maybe moments, or was there any kind of tipping point that you felt in the game to allow you all to kind of get the momentum and get the push that you needed?
Well, first of all, we were Oklahoma City to Indiana to Atlanta to Dallas to OKC in 8 nights. The first 2 were double overtime. So 5 and 8 in those cities, changing cities is hard anyways. And then to start that stretch with double overtime, there's a fatigue factor to that. We're obviously not fully healthy either. And so I just think the persistence of the team, we're building different muscles at different times. There's certainly habits that we need to improve on. But the persistence, I thought, was on display again tonight. I thought like Wiggins missed some really good looks late, but he got the huge offensive rebound, and he had a bunch of some blocks and some stuff around the basket. Dort, just hung in the game, made a huge shot. AC made a huge shot. And I thought the Carlson, Jay Will minutes at the end of the third were huge minutes for us. The game was kind of getting away from us, and we closed that lead back down and got it to a manageable place to start the fourth. And so I just thought, the team just played with great grit through the 48 minutes and through this stretch. Now we get a day off, which is nice.
You just mentioned a few of those plays late. Didn't seem like those were going you guys' way earlier in the game. It seemed like you didn't have legs. Just talk about the energy that you guys found late to make those plays and convert them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it hasn't been like a masterpiece of execution, but I do think we've kind of flexed our resilience muscle in this stretch just by staying persistent and kind of enduring what was a very challenging stretch of games in a condensed period of time. So the guys did a great job of just like sticking with it. And that's where the competitive spirit of these guys shows up. Jay Will struggled shooting the ball tonight, had huge offensive rebounds and energy plays. Despite that, I thought all the guys, nobody had their fastball tonight, and yet everybody made plays to give us enough to win the game.
And talk about how important the bench was for you guys tonight.
Well, it's good to have Alex back. He did his thing tonight with the defense and disruption. He had his hands all over the ball, and then he made the shot of the game. Or one of them. on a great attack by the team and a great play by Wiggs. So, he was great. And then we needed everybody. We got good minutes up and down. But it was you felt his presence back on the floor.
You guys have played a lot of possessions in the half court to start the season. Just any reasoning behind that? It's a lot more like percentage-wise than last season.
I'd have to look and dig into it. My first pass at that would be, I do think when you're playing this many clutch games, there's probably a slower pace to the fourth quarters as a result of that. And then you add 4 overtimes on that, and that's going to change the overall proportion. Like, there's not going to be a ton of transition in an overtime, realistically. And so I think the sample is probably a little skewed this early in the year. But we'd like to play faster and more attacking. I thought we had opportunities to do that tonight and didn't take advantage. So I'm not saying there's no signal there, but I do think there's some context as well, not to mention the fatigue.
These guys had 5 guys that took double-digit shots. Can you just talk about the challenge of defending this team in particular, that you couldn't just pick one guy to try to stop? They were all really trying to go at you guys.
Yeah, and I thought they played well, and played well together. They played off one another. They moved the ball well and tried to keep the ball ahead of us. And they're potent. They've got a lot of threats around the floor that you have to account for, and they got the best of us a lot of the night. But I thought the defense in the second half, 39 points against that offense in the second half, is pretty good. So I thought we got our shots in as well.
Did you know you were going to play as much in the first quarter? You changed defenses, kind of a little zone, a little man, that kind of mixed things up a little bit. They got a couple open threes there early. Did you know you were going to kind of switch around as much as you did?
We just kind of feel the game. We don't go in with we don't predetermine too much. We just try to read what's going on in the game and try to be adaptive. I think that's a good skill for the team to learn. And I thought that showed up offensively down the stretch. I thought we finally got to some nice zone attacks late. And then they started to blitz and try to double team Shai, and I thought we were super sharp in those situations. That's where the Caruso 3 came from, some of the offensive rebounds. We got really quality looks when they tried to take the ball out of his hands, which is critical for us because teams are going to try to do that. We got to burn them.
You mentioned Wiggs, too. After you finally got the lead, you did a good job denying Levine the ball. Then he goes down the other end, to the save to Ihart there. Some big plays that helped you turn it.
Yeah, and he kind of steadied us early with his offense. We weren't making a ton of shots, but he was, and he kind of kept us afloat in different parts of the game flow. And then he got really good looks down the stretch that just didn't fall, but they were all good shots. He stepped into them with confidence. He put a good shot up there. But he stayed in it, to your point, defensively, even around the rim. I thought he made some physical plays, and then the offensive rebound was massive. The kick to Caruso was a great play. So that's a sign of a good player is when, you've got other solutions when your shots aren't falling.
Yeah, you talk about these late game situations. What have these past few games showed you about AJ and how he can handle those for his development?
We have a lot of confidence in him just because of how consistently he executes. If you execute in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, then chances are you're going to execute late game. And that's what he does. I thought tonight was a great night for him because, he's obviously gotten off to a great start offensively. And tonight was tough. Like they had Schroeder on him. A lot of the night, that's a really, really tough guy to go against. We know that firsthand. And so, it wasn't an easy game for him. He had to work for everything. He had to fight through some things, and he maintained his competitiveness and his confidence despite that. And that's going to be important because if he's going to play well, then teams are going to make adjustments and they're going to come at him. And that's how you improve, is you kind of take those shots, you learn from them, and you keep evolving. But I thought tonight was a really healthy night for him, and he was obviously impactful.
Yeah, Coach. Shai has shot 8 free throws on approximately 22 drives in the last 3 games. Can you just talk about, I guess, his maturity and his poise not to really react with reigning MVPs? You typically will see them complaining a lot when they're not getting fouls called. Just talk about his maturity there, and then his ability to adjust his game and still be just as impactful while having to change his game like mid-game.
Yeah, I said this last night about the free throws, and I'll double back on it. It's 5 games into the season. It's early in the year for every team. It's early in the year for the officiating. We need to get better right now. that's what we need to focus on, and we need to focus on what we can control. That's how you get better, and we can't control how they call the game. So we go in, we try to calibrate it as best we can, and adjust to the whistle. If there's a trend that stacks up over the course of games, I might be more apt to say something, but it's very early, and we have a lot we need to address. So we're not trying to grade out the officiating at this point.